All right, fellow AMC stockholders, XMAX Trading here. I'm going to go over some DD regarding AMC. I know it's been down a couple days and, retesting some lows here. So, but I think there's some interesting things coming up. So who knows? Who knows what happens? But let's go into DD, where I have some optimism about AMC as far as another short squeeze. Not financial advice, but let's dive into some data and see what's going to happen. What do you think can happen? So, if you haven't subscribed already, consider subscribing to the channel. Hit the like button, and let's get started. So, looking at AMC on Market Beat, there's some interesting data. The current about the short. Okay, AMC short interest ratio and short volume. Okay. So this is as of January 14th. Today's the 15th. So the range from yesterday was 19 to 21. Of course, it went down. Kind of went back up to 20. So what's interesting is the short volume, 94 million shares out of 513 million supposedly. Previous short volume was 96 million. So it's technically a little bit down. Dollar volume showed short 2.58 billion. That's a lot of money. Short interest ratio and days to cover. This is what I want to talk about. This is what I want to talk about. Days to cover, 2.2. They also call it the short interest ratio. The last recorded date was December 31st. It's January 15th. It should be coming out soon. There's a 2-week delay. I think that the SEC or NSCC or whatever, they want to change that to where it's quicker. Instead of being 2 weeks, it could be like a daily thing. But yeah, 2 weeks is a long time. I was saying shares 513 million. Percentage of the shares sold short 14 or 18%. Anything above, for sure, 20% is extremely high. But anything above like 15% is still decently high. So 18% is decently high. Okay. Look at the days to cover over time. December 31st. It was 1.5, 0.6, January 0.3, and then of course, boom, right? It happened. The big short squeeze happened here. 0.4, yeah, and then it started going up again. May 28th, and then boom, of course, we had that big spike. It went down again. The days to cover, look at this graph, everyone. The days to cover is steadily increasing really high. 2.2, that's the highest it's ever been. That's the days to cover is what gives me optimism. Because days to cover is like how many days it would take for them to get out of their short positions if they had to. Anything over a day is considered to be problematic for shorts. We know that retail's buying it. We know that CEO Adam Aron sold some shares, about 300,000 out of his 2.5 million shares. Of course, the financial media wants to say, oh, he sold, $70 million worth of shares or 14 million, whatever it is. But in reality, he sold 300,000 shares, valued at $20 or 21, and he still is holding on to a majority of his shares, as far as I know. So the days to cover has been steadily increasing over time. 2.2, man, this is really high. Look at all this. This is like the highest it's ever been in a year, at least a year. Short interest, May 28, short interest was really high when it was like the big short squeeze. They were trying to push it back down, but this is pretty high. 2.67, right before the big squeeze in late May, early June. Boom. One began August 31st. Did decline 2.38, going back up to 2.58 December 31st. Of course, we're delayed. They do that on purpose. So pretty interesting, guys. I think it bodes some good things for us. Short percentage of the float. They don't keep track of that data. So the other thing too is that we have options expiring in January. So let's look at days to cover. Days to cover, what is it? Days to cover is a measure of the expected number of days to close out a company's outstanding shares that have been sold short. It computes with the company's shares that are currently shorted divided by the average daily trading volume to give an approximation of time, expressed in days, to close out the short positions. Days to cover are related to short ratio as a measure of short interest in a stock. Days to cover is a temporal indication of the short interest in a company's stock. Days to cover is calculated by taking the quantity of shares that are sold short, dividing that by the amount of stock's average daily volume. High days to cover measurement is a signal of potential short squeeze. Understanding days to covers are calculated by taking the number of currently shorted shares. For example, investors that shorted 2 million shares of ABC, its average daily volume is 1 million shares, and days to cover is 2 days. Days to cover can be useful to traders in a number of following ways. It can be a proxy for how bearish or bullish traders are about a company, which can aid in future investment decisions. A high days to cover ratio might be a harbinger that all is not well with company performance. It gives investors a good idea of potential future buying pressure. In the event of a rally in the stock, short sellers must buy the shares on the open market to close their positions. Understandably, they seek to purchase the shares back at the lowest price possible, and this urgency to get out of the position could translate into sharp moves higher. The longer the buyback process takes, as reinforced by the days to cover metric, the longer the price rally may continue, solely based on the need of short sellers to close their positions. Those sneaky little short sellers. In addition, the high days to cover ratio can often signal potential short squeeze. This information can be beneficial to traders looking to make a quick profit by buying a company's shares ahead of anticipated this eventuality come to fruition. Short selling process and days to cover. Traders who short sell are motivated by a belief the price will fall. In practice, short selling involves borrowing shares from a broker, selling the shares on the open market, and then buying those shares back to return them to the broker. Trader benefits if the price share falls. The days to cover represents the total estimated amount of time for all short sellers active in the market for security to buy back the shares that were lent to them. In a previously lagging stock turns very bullish, the buying action of short sellers can result in upward momentum. The action of short sellers can result in upward momentum. The higher the days to cover, the more pronounced effect of the upward momentum may be, which could be a result in larger losses for short sellers who are not among the first to get out the door to close their positions. So it's pretty interesting. What's that short ratio? Short interest ratio. Kind of the same thing. The ratio can tell investors if the number of shares short is high or low versus the stock's average trading volume. Ratio can rise or fall based on the number of shares to short. It can decrease or increase as volume levels change. Short interest rose despite the number of shares short falling because the average daily volume fell shortly. In addition to short interest with steady decline despite days to cover. Well, for Tesla, wow, that up to 8 days. Short interest climbing. It's in such number the short interest ratio and short interest are not the same. Short interest measures the total number of shares that have been sold short. The ratio is a formula used to measure how many days it would take for the shares short in the market to be covered. Limitations. The ratio has some flaws. First being it's not updated regularly. Short interest is reported every 2 weeks and is usually on the 15th, as of the 15th last day of the month. So we should find out. So the 15th of January is MLK, so 16. It takes 7 days before the information is published, and by that time the number of short shares in the market has already changed. Additionally, one must consider how news or events may impact trading volumes and make the ratio expand or contract. The ratio should be compared with the actual short interest and the trading volumes to get the full picture. All right. Pretty interesting, guys. Leave a like and a comment below. Let's see what happens with AMC the following week. We have they should publish the new short interest information this week, and also the options are expiring on the 20th. So it's going to be interesting, guys. So, all right, until next time, see you later. Bye.